Now I'm searching for a particular boxing glove in an Amazon. I went and then I'm searching for a boxing glove. Now, when I'm searching for a boxing glove, it has been showed me dumbbells. So now when I have been searched for gloves, it should show me the gloves. It shouldn't show me the dumbbell, right? So now this is a bug or this is a defect. Means there is a deviation from my requirement. What is my requirement? When I search for a glove, it need to display me the gloves, not the dumbbells. So now this is a deviation. So this I'll raise it as a bug, or it would be call it as a defect in terms of the developers. So this is the basic difference between a bug and a defect. But both are 99.999% same. So this is like slightly an informal way of representing, but still most of the testers use the terminology as a bug life or bug life cycles or whatever it is. So now that is what the bug and defect. Now errors. So as you all said that errors are nothing but, so when you have written a program, so even now when you have been doing this particular automation coding, you write your code, right? When we are writing our code, if we have been got, so this is called compile time errors, runtime errors. We'll never call as compile bugs, runtime bugs. We will never say that bugs. Those are called errors. Errors are which are mistakes in our code. So this is mistakes, means I didn't write my code properly so that I'll get the compilation error or I'll get the runtime errors. Compilation errors means syntactical errors. Anyways, when you go for Java, you'll be understanding all these particular pointers. Means what you'll be getting that one is, so in a code, if you do a particular mistakes, then it will prone to get the errors. So this is what the definition means. Always you remember that errors will comes only in the codes. Now, see now the definition of error is altogether it's a completely different. It is no way comparison with a defect and a bug. We shouldn't use, instead of bug or defect, you shouldn't use it as errors. So you should only use it as a bug or defect. See now why I'm giving this particular differences means when you're talking in your interviews, you have to be very much cautious whether this is a bug or whether this is a defect. So you have to be very much cautious enough in presenting these particular details. So this is an error. Now, what do you mean by fault? So for this one, you can see it, a simple definition here. The fault may occur in the software because it is not added into the code for the fault tolerance and make the application to the act upon. See, faults are, it is not only the software faults. Means, it means for an example, in your softwares, usually we will call it as a bug and defect. But where we will call it as a fault means altogether, when a system having the issues, then this is called as a fault. Means you have your mobile phone. Your mobile phone consists of your software, consists of hardware, and consists of the middleware, and all these things will be there, right? Now, there is some fault in my mobile or in your laptop. You have your Windows software, Windows hardware. We we don't know exactly what it was that. So whether it is a problem with the hardware or it is a hardware problem or a software problem. So we don't know exactly that particular thing. So then we will be calling that as a fault. So now if it is the deviation from the expected requirement from the software, then it is called a bug and defect. Now, if there is any mistakes in the code, because of that one, it leads to us to have an errors like compilation errors or runtime errors or whatever it might be. Now, faults will be occur because of any of the hardware issues or software issues, combination of hardware and software issues. So these all things would be falls into the fault. That is the reason any of our softwares, we will never say that it is fault. We always say that it's a bug or issue, but not as a fault. So it is a combination of the both. So now you need to understand that it need to perform. For an example, now you take your laptop. In the laptop, when you wanted to turn on your laptop, the laptop is not on, or you'll be getting a blue screen. Then what you'll think, hey, is this is a fault? Now, this may be the reason because of the software or because of the hardware, it was showing me this particular error message. So those are the things which it is called as an fault. Now, what is failure? What is failure? Failure is nothing but you take a particular product. There are a lot of software. We know that there are a lot of defects and bugs in a particular application that will lead that particular product to be a failure. That's a product failure. Means you take any particular software, you take any particular hardware, any particular project, or any particular product. If it is having more number of faults, more number of defects, then it leads that particular product or project to be a failure. So that is the state of that particular product, whether the product is succeeded or it is failed. So how we are going to determine this one is, hey, we have lot of bugs, lot of issues, lot of faults are there in this particular product. So then this, based on these things, this particular product is failure. Now for an example, I taken a movie. Okay, any specific movie? No, nothing, no regional or any particular pan-India movies which you have been taken at. The movie was failed. When a movie is failed, there are a lot of reasons for that particular failure. Probably hero didn't acted well, or there is no proper storyline, or no proper direction, no proper VFX visuals, or no proper music, or no proper editing. So combination of all these things, the movie is failure. See, this is how you need to understand. So don't buy hat. Now you need to understand, a error means my developer, when means whoever writes, it's not only the developer. Whenever we are writing a code, if I make a certain mistake, it may lead me to get the errors. So these errors are compile time errors and runtime errors. So these are the things which it is called an error. So it all belongs this particular terminology where I need to use when I'm doing the coding. Now, when I'm testing this one, there is a deviation from my expected requirement. So then this is called a bug or defect. So I'll be calling this one as a bug or defect life cycles or the defects. Now, when it comes to the fault, now it is an hardware software testing. Now, there is means many of the times, because it is not that only software testing will be doing it. There are many hardware software testings are there. Example, ECG meters you would be having in hospitals and ICUs, you see it, right? So the ECG connected to a computer machine, and then you'll be seeing a small monitor on the top. It gives the up and down the ads. So now this is hardware connected to the software. Hey, there is some problem in the software. So there is some software bugs are there, or there is some hardware faults are there. So now when we have the combination of the software and hardware, so then there is at that point of time only when there is a failure from the hardware combination with the softwares or hardware failures, then I'll need to use it as a faults. Now, overall together, if I have more number of failures, so more number of faults or defects or bugs in a particular project or a product across these things, then I will be calling it as a failure. The failure of that particular project, failure of that particular product. So it is a particular overall product status or overall product status. So that overall this particular thing has been failed because of the so and so reasons, as I given you the example of the movie. So this is how it is different from each terminologies, but all terminologies we will be having in our industry. So you should know where to use what. Okay, so overall the project is failure, man. Why the project is failure? The lead has been not properly led for us. The requirements are not clearly defined for us. Execution of this particular project was not done properly. There are a lot of bugs in the application. So this is how you will define the failure. Okay, this is for entire project, entire product. So this is how the failures, faults, defects, bugs, errors, and mistakes will be defined and then classified. Any questions on this? Any questions?
No, sir. Please
Sir, hi,
explain
sir.
the fault.
Mm.
So the faults occurred between. So it is an optimization issue, or it's uh, for example, if I install an app, so the hardware in software is not synchronizing. It is a fault, right?
Hmm. See, I told you, right? It's a combination. So now it is not only from the software. See, if we are getting the deviation from the software, then it is called a bug. But it is from the hardware and software we are getting it, that we will be calling it as a faulty. Hey, this is a faulty application.
So
If
that
that
would
Oh,
be
it
when,
is not
okay,
even
sir.
when
compatible.
we are not sure, Chris.
Hmm. It is not only not sure about that one. So if it is having a combination of the both, means this particular issue you're getting it because of the both.
Yeah, from both ends.
Both the means from the hardware point of view, from the software point of view, then we'll be getting it as this one. Mostly the
Okay.
faults would be saying in terms of hardware. I told you, right? If it is specific to the hardware, now how in a software, if you have a deviation, then we'll be calling it as a bug. If it is specifically having some deviation in the hardware working condition, then this is called faults.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you.
There you can't tell the bug. See, for an example, you're manufacturing uh,
Washing
a
machine.
car bearings, car manufacturing company. In the car manufacturing company, you can't go and say, this is a defect, man. This is bug, man. We can't say that. So there we'll say that, hey, this is fault. This particular product, the way it designed it is a faulty design. So
Okay,
there we
okay.
use. See, now it is depends upon the industry. Most of the times where the fault will be used is fault is used for the hardware industry, hardware products, or combination of hardware and software when we have it. So then we will define that as a fault. See, there is a hairline differences. I can understand your situation that you're getting confused. So it is not that if you're not able to determine that when we need to say it, but majoritarily it depends upon the industry. So, for an example, um, in an industry which it have the hardware and software combination, especially health industry, energy industries. So these all industries will have the combination of software and the hardware. So at there we will be calling this one as a false, because this is a hardware fault, not the software. So defining that, there we will be using it. But if it is purely from the software industries, means we'll have only web app, mobile applications and these things, there we use the defect and bugs. Specifically for the hardware issues, then we will be mentioning it as an fault. And sometimes we don't know exactly that is a software or hardware issue, then we will be calling that an as a fault. See, if you go
Yes,
for
sir.
the definitions, there are a lot of definitions it will be there. I don't wanted to talk about those things in the articles, but you need to understand the reality, the practical reality. So where we will be using this. So now we will be having a very clear clarity on the errors, mistakes, and bugs, defects, and then fault and failures. So this is all the differences between the each other. Okay,
Okay.
fine. Any other pointers?
Hi, Chris. Good morning. What's the term called issue?
Uh, okay, so now there is nothing particular means it can be used in any of the places. So for an example, um, it was any particular problem. See, now that is a generic terminology. Now either a defect or a bug, errors, fault, anything, then you will be saying it's a common terminology that it is an issue. Example. Now I have 5 boys there. We will be having, for an example, hey, Ramakrishna or Sai Dinesh or Khalil or Chinna. So now we have these all. So we will be calling them as boys. Some generic, see now there will be having it, right? Noun, pronoun. So similar category, if you have any of these things, then we will be pronouncing this one as it as an issue. Any
Representing
issues?
these terms.
Yes. So that is the reason anywhere you will not find that particular term issue here. So that's a common terminology. It may be bug or defect or errors or fault, anything, it can be called it as a issues. A lot of issues, man. Errors, sorry, error, we can call them as errors or defects or bugs, anything it would be calling as an issue. Issues are, issue means it's a some common problem we have it. So then that is called an issues.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Chris.
Now coming back to the next question, so which it is build versus version versus release versus patch. See, always you need to remember that this would be in now whatever I have been given, it is in a sequence. Interesting, right? So BVR, build, version, release, and then it will go for the patches. Now build. What do you mean by build? See, you need to understand it in carefully so that there will be slight differentiations and the variations which you can see it over here. Now, developer, for an example, there are 4 developers, D1, D2, D3, D4. Okay. From morning till evening, they write the code and they will commit the code. All 4 people. And they will make this particular build and then they will send it to the testing. Means, because from morning, whatever I have been built, you take that particular code and test it and then tell me if there is any issues. Why I need to do this? So that I can fix that particular issues as quickly as possible. If I do it daily, consider that 15 days after that they have been committed their code. How many bugs it would be there? This would be a really big right, means it was really tough for me to identify that. So now what I'll try to do every day if they committed that particular thing so that it is easy for me. Means this is one of the snapshot, means the status on that particular day of the code. They made it as a build and give it for the testing. They made it as a build and they will give it for the testing. Now, what is build? There is a big definition for this one. When we go for Maven topic, we'll be talking about this. So build, what do you mean by exact terminology to understand in terms of the code building? Means if I'm saying that yeah, I'm building a code means what? Build means writing the code, compiling the code. You might be confusing what you mean by compiling and all. You will understand when we go for Java. Writing a code, compiling a code. Compiling means checking if there is any errors or not. Errors are there or not. Executing that particular code, generating that particular results, and making the package of that complete code into a funnel. It means like for an example, our moms will cook the food and then put it into the tiffin boxes, right? Into tiffin box they will pack. So that's the how they will pack the code. Everything combinedly called it as a build. Simple, right? Now all the developers write the code. They will check if there is any errors. They will execute that one, generate that results, and pack the complete code into a single jar. These all things would be done as part of the build. So this is called build management tools, which is Maven. However, when we go for that one, we will discuss in detail. But as of now, what you need to understand is, what do you meant by a build? A build is nothing but that's a current status or current snapshot of the code. What is the status on that? So this is what a build is. Let's see the definition, what it was saying. Snapshot of the code at a specific time. Now, what is a version? What is a version? Version is nothing but, now a group of builds will make an version. But the version is a state that it have, hey, for this particular version 1.0, I have trash, and then I have compose mail, I have inbox or outbox. So these are the features it have it in the version 1.0. Version 1.1, I'll be added with primary and secondary option of email segregation. Version 2.2, 1.2, it have increasing of the mail size. Now version 2 completely. Now if you see here, this 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, now these are called as soft upgrades. Now from one version to two version changed, means there are a lot of other new functionalities has been changed, updated to here. Then this is called hard upgrades. Means there are major updates in this version. These are minor updates in the versions. So then this is called minor version upgrades. They are called it as a software upgrades. Major version upgrades are called as a hardware upgrades. So did you got the basic differences? Let's just give me 1 second. I'm feeling some discomfort. Sorry, guys. So if it is a soft, if it is if these things are upgraded, this is called soft upgrades, and this is called hard upgrades. It depends upon the new functionalities and the things which we are going to add upon it. Okay, so this is called versions. Now, releases. Releases are nothing but this is what the official release to the market. Let me see the definitions also here. This is an official distribution of a software version to the end users. Means if you see here, so now this is the version. You created the version, and this version you are officially distributing it to the end users. So this is called release. And here if you see that service pack 1, service pack 2, service pack 3, like that, release service pack means here in the versions you have version 1.0, version 1, the same way here, release service pack 1, service pack 2, that the how it will be coming it. Last but not least, patch. Now you see it. So this is still in the development phase only. And now this is ready to release into the market. Now this is to the end users. Now, once it go to the end user, see now for an example, now we got the Windows 11. Now, once I got the Windows 11, my VLC player is not working there. Or any of my new software is not working there. Then what it will do, they will release this one into the beta version. What do you mean by beta version? Because this is not the original software. So this we have been given it for the crowd testing. You test it and give it back to me. This is like a trailer. Before a movie release, we'll see the trailer, right? The same way before a software release, you can use and see that if it is anything, because you think that Windows software can be tested with the one particular team, because Windows is an operating system. I can install some lakhs and lakhs of softwares. Do you think that every software can be tested by the Windows? That's the reason they will be releasing it as a beta version. The beta version means this is for the beta testing. I think in UAT you'll be talking about the alpha testing, beta testing. So this is what that particular testing talks about it. Alpha testing and beta testing, right? So beta testing, it is giving to the end user and asking them to test that and see that if there is any bugs or any issues so that they can go and fix that. So now going and fixing and then adding to this one, then this will be calling it as a patch, simple patch. Either they will be giving it as, see, if it is a bigger things, then they'll be releasing it in the different versions. But it is very simple. For an example, now you have your pant slightly torn. So now what you'll do, you'll add some more stickering for that. Means like a sticker patch, and you'll say that, hey, this is a new style. You do a patchwork. For an example, slightly you're at a one particular border. So a t-shirt or shirt or whatever it has been torn. So immediately we'll do some patchwork, right? So that patchwork work it does, it combines two things. And then on top of that one, you will add certain patch. Tire puncture. You do a patch for the tire, right? So this is how the patch works. So that is where the basic difference between a build. Build is nothing but a snapshot of a software, which it would be having a multiple builds. Means per day we can have multiple builds per day itself. Now, these all builds to combine to form a version where you can have new functionalities, additional functionalities, and then these particular functionalities can be released for. And when these particular versions so combine, and then you will be having certain beta versions, means they need to be thoroughly tested. For this one, you can test that one, and having that particular patch works which we'll be doing on it. And then we'll be putting it into the releases. Means a release is nothing but this is an official distribution of any particular software product into the market, then that is called release. So that is what the difference is between a build, version, patch, and release.
Chris, actually, I'm not able to figure out the difference between version and the release, because even many times we call, if there is a browser, we have different versions, isn't it? It is not ready to release, but it is already released, isn't it?
That is what I'm saying it, right? That is what the patch, I'll give you an example right now. For an example, let me take this Chrome. If you see here, these are the releases. These are the versions. For a particular version, these are the version, and then these are the released dates. Once up the version, it would be released. Now, before release, also we will give the product into the market. So now that is what I told you, right? Beta.
Yeah.
So now for an example, now if you see here, spend for the blink. Okay, let me draw here itself. Am I drawing this? Okay, so here when we are coming here, you just see this one. I told you the example. This is the best example to understand this particular release and then version. when we see this particular version, we would be having that one. We can't test thoroughly. For example, this version has this particular Windows 11 have been completed. It is not tested thoroughly in the market. Now, what I'll do is I'll release this one into the market for the as a beta version. Beta version, it is not like it is like a pre-examination of a particular thing. Means before you release the product, I'll make this product to release and make this one to use by the customers and then get that feedback of the customers. Even the beta version also would be comes into the market. So now this is also called it as a beta version release.
Okay, but which is not the actual version.
Actual version. So now then when we are releasing it, we will release it as a 1.1 service pack 1, service pack 2, like that one we'll release it. Means once everything is testing thoroughly, then it will be released into the market in such a way.
All right. Yeah,
Okay,
Chris?
that is what the basic differences between this.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so this is what the basic differences between the build, version, release, and then the patch. Any more questions? Fine. I need to
Sir,
start with
sir, I have a doubt.
Mm.
In terms of this environments, can you explain, sir, where the build is there? Means build is in QA environment, right? The
it is not like
like
that. It might be in the development environment itself also. It's why the build need to be given it to the testers. Every day may not be. See, for an example, in a single day, okay, morning 10 o'clock they can make a build, and 4 o'clock they can make a build, and evening 7 o'clock they can make a build. So 7 o'clock build they will give it to the testing environment. Or morning 10 o'clock build, 4 o'clock build, 7 o'clock build also they can give it to us. It all depends upon the basic requirement. Hey, there may be various reasons to make the builds. See, for an example, here one developer made his code as a build. Here, all 4 developers made this one as a build. So now the build is nothing but it not no need to be once it made a build, then it need to be in a QA environment. Not really. Even they can maintain in the development environment also.
okay, sir, understood.
Okay, fine, guys. I need to take this particular priority and severity, but I think I need to take something because I was too much hungry, so I was having dizziness. So I think you guys can continue for today. I'll continue for tomorrow once after your verification and all the things. Then I'll start on this particular priority and severity. Okay.